Ashley Osborne, and I have spent countless hours of my life researching, learning, and practicing all the different ways we can make money online. My goal with this channel is to prove to you that not only can you too make money online, but you can do so easier and faster than you think. If making money online interests you, then please hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification. That way you get notified every time I make a video. Let's get into today's video, shall we?
Hello friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. I took a little bit of time to enjoy the holidays with my family, and now we are back at it. So I'm very excited about this video. In my most recent video, I expressed that I was going to show you guys the importance of making listing photo templates, and that's what we're going to go over today. A listing photo is the main photo that you see on your website. So whether that's Designbundles or Etsy, CreativeFabrica, SoFontsy, The Hungry JPEG, Creative Market, or all the others. For your digital products, this is your first main photo that you have on here. Now you can have a listing photo template for your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. picture, but today I'm just going to go over my main photo because that's the first photo that they see, and that's the first photo that is going to drag your customers in. So as you can see, we're going to kind of scroll through mine real quick, and I'm going to go over kind of the different sections that I like to break my shop into, and then that way we can see the different listing photos that I have set up for each section. Something that's really important is that your shop looks cohesive. You want somebody to be able to kind of recognize, oh, that's so-and-so's work. For sublimation, I have tumbler wraps, I have mug wraps, car coasters, glass cans, bundles, earrings, single designs. I have a whole bunch. And for each one, I have a little bit of a different listing photo. So for tumbler wraps, you can see I do all of them the exact same. I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I also have a featured photo over here on this side. If somebody sees this listing photo, then they're automatically going to think, oh, Last Frontier Design Co. Next are my mug wraps. These are all done the exact same, except for when I have a large bundle like this. I tend to do it like this, but sometimes I change it up. But for my basic bundles, they are all done in this way. Okay? Get an idea of how my shop always looks cohesive. This bottom banner is always the same. Car coasters, again, that bottom banner is the same. And then I have 4 that are featured over here, and then 2 that are featured over here. Glass cans, as you can see, all the same. Everything's the same, but I have it featured on the glass can so that the customer can look at it and see. Other than telling you that your shop should look cohesive, my biggest advice would be to show your product on the product that you think the customer is going to be using them for. If your customer is interested in making glass cans with sublimation and they see your design on a glass can next to someone's design that's maybe similar, but it's not featured on a glass can, they're more than likely going to choose yours. Here is the section with my sublimation earrings. Right now I only do teardrop earrings, so these are what all of my teardrop earrings look like. And then when I do a large bundle, it's this right here. I set it up, all my bundles are done exactly the same. This is volume 2, I have volume 1 somewhere in here. These are my digital papers. As you can see, these are all the same. I have a banner in the center this time, but I keep the font that I use, my logo, everything's the same, so it's still looking cohesive. I split it up in the center because it's just easier to show off 5 on top and 5 on bottom. I do mine in groups of 10. And then I obviously have larger bundles like this that I also have. And then another newer bundle type that I have are 3D alphabets. This is how I'm setting those up. So as you can see, exactly the same. They just show off the different clip art differently. So let's go ahead and get into it now. We're going to be using Affinity Designer today. Now, something that I did when I was starting out, because I just didn't have the realization, so hopefully I'll save you some time, is that since I didn't start out on Etsy, I didn't realize that Etsy has a different listing photo dimensions than other websites. Unfortunately, all the other websites have the same one or something that'll work for all of them, but Etsy's is different. And so my frustration was that, you know, I would make a template like this and I would get it all ready to post a listing and I would put it on Designbundles, and then I would put it on CreativeFabrica and Sofonsi, etc. And then when I got to Etsy, I would have to change the dimensions of my listing photo. Such a huge pain in the butt when you're trying to get things out and you're just trying to make your work like kind of seamless and fast and just boom, boom, boom. So my advice to you is to use the dimensions I'm about to give you for Etsy. See this, I just pulled this one off out of my Etsy section. And the dimensions for this, if you go to document setup, 2000 pixels by 1333 pixels with a DPI of 300. Now this is what it's going to look like on your Etsy shop. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like on your Etsy shop. If you want it to look a little bit different, fit a little bit better, then you will in fact have to change your settings down a little bit. I feel personally that this looks great. It works great for what I'm selling. It doesn't cut off too much. I think it looks nice. And I know a lot of different people will give you different advice as far as what size to use. So I'm going to give you my advice on what size I use. You can see it here. This is what it looks like. And then the great part is that you make it one time and then you can use the same exact listing photo for all of your other websites. It just over time makes things so much faster. So the listing photo size I use for Etsy and then also for all the other platforms is the 2000 pixels by 1333 pixels at 300 DPI. That uploads to Etsy perfectly fine with 0 issues. So today what we're using Affinity Designer, and you can probably create this in other programs, maybe Photopea, I mentioned that one a lot. But today we're going to just use Affinity Designer because, as you all know, this is the designing program that I prefer to work in. And so how you go about this is you would go to File, New, and we would change this to pixels. And we would do just that same dimensions we were just talking about. So 2000 by 1333 by 300 and create. Okay, so here is our blank canvas. This is where we're starting off. I'm going to grab the square right here. We're just going to pull it until it's roughly the right shape that we're looking for. Okay, and for now, I'm just going to turn this kind of a gray color. And we're going to make sure that this is centered. And we're just going to make sure that this is centered into our document and it looks good. So right here in the gray is where you would put your logo, your text that you're going to want to put on here. You might put digital paper pack or something of that nature. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to want to put your sections up here. And the reason a template is so helpful is because you only have to make the template once, and then as you make new products, you just drag them and drop them in. So let's go ahead and we'll make this. We'll just do one right here, and we'll turn this white. Okay, and we're going to make sure there's no outline. Perfect. And then what we want to do is, you know what, actually I'm fibbing. Let's change the color real quick just so we can get the right dimensions. We want it to fill the whole space. So we're going to do one here. We're going to push down the Alt key and then grab and pull. Perfect. That's going to give us the copy and paste. Again, again, again. Perfect. And we're going to want to make each one a tad bit bigger. So go one by one, just a tad bit bigger. Now the goal is going to be to just make these a little bit bigger so that we are filling in these white spaces that we have in between. Now, these don't have to be perfect because they are going to be overlapping a little bit. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So in the layers panel over here, wonderful. So you can't see anything in the middle here. That's great. So in the layers panel over here, you can see that there's this one is on the bottom, and then it goes, this one's above it, above it, above it, above it. What we actually want to do is we want to switch that. So we are going to grab this one and move this one up above. And then the same with this one, we're going to move it right there. This one we're going to move right there. This one's going to move right here. So now when we do it, we should start over here and we're going to go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Hopefully you're following. You saw how we did that. From here, what we want to do is we want to select all of them. So again, I'm going to do this in the layer panel this time. We're going to select the top one, click Shift, and then select the bottom one. Wonderful. And then we're going to go ahead and turn them all white again. And now we're going to give them a shadow. And the shadow effect is what's going to make it look like it's got a 3D effect of paper laying on top of another paper. So we're going to go to the effects and we're going to do outer shadow. And we're going to play with the radius first. And we're just going to slide it to where we like it. Now, this is what it looks like so far. We can also adjust the opacity, make it a little darker. Okay, and then we can also change the offset if we wanted to. It's all about how you want it to look, okay? So I'm going to say right there's good, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this whole thing by selecting, now that each one is selected, you can tell in the layers panel, I'm going to again push my Alt key down and drag it, or you can just do as traditional copy and paste. And I'm going to line this up as good as I can on the bottom here. Perfect. Now, the next step would be to right click, as all of these are still selected, go ahead and right click. We're going to go to Arrange, and we're going to move to the back. There we go. See how we did that? So now we're going to do that same thing, but at the top. We're going to select all of them by clicking Shift and then clicking each one. We're going to right click, go to Arrange, and then hit Move to Back. There we go. So now we have created our whole template that we're going to use. Change your colors, you know, if you wanted like purple or whatever colors you want is, you know, works fine. Let's just do like a light purple for now, I guess. And then whatever text you want to stick with, just try your best to keep it cohesive like we've been talking about. The most important part is keeping a nice cohesive brand. So let's just say we just want to write digital paper pack. And then obviously not that huge because that would be weird. And let's scroll it over a little bit. Obviously I wouldn't normally pick Arial. That's kind of boring, but we'll just, for the sake of this, let's just say you did digital paper pack. We'll just put a heart for now, pretending that it's my logo. Because that sounded like a good idea for the moment. Okay, and so let's say that this is our complete digital paper pack template. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to save it. You'll go File, Save As, and this saves it as an affinity file. Okay, so the raw affinity file, and you would name it something like digital paper pack template. Okay, or you could name it digital paper pack mockup. Whatever makes sense for you. This is only for you. Okay, and so you'll do that, and then every time you have your 10 papers ready to go, you'll select the first one, and then we will basically drag and put in here your digital papers. So we'll select this and then we'll go over to insert inside the selection, go to file, go to place because we're placing it into the selection, and then you're going to grab a digital paper. Okay, that's it. That is all you do. And then click off and there it is. And so you'll do that for each and every one of them. And then you will then save it, file, export as a JPEG. Okay. And then from there, it'll become your listing photo. So I will show you how I save my listing photos real quick. So this is where I keep my listing photos. I just put listing photos and then I keep my raw files. So my affinity files are in here. These are all the mock-up templates that I have for every single type of design that I create. And then I have the ones that I made for Etsy because remember, I did it incorrectly and so I have different sized ones. And then these are all of my different listing photos. I keep every single one. You never know when you need to grab them. So I keep every single one. So that's how you go about making a mock-up. Now, just for reference, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of my different ones and show you how they work. So I'm going to go ahead and open my Tumblr wraps. So here are my Tumblr wraps. And so with this one, the same thing. I'll open it and then I would select these and I would take each one out. Okay, and then I would remove this as well. If you're wondering how to create a mock-up like this, I use a website called Placeit, but you can purchase different mock-ups or do a different thing over here if you wish. But let's say this is what my mock-up would look like if I was just starting out, okay? And then I would do the same thing that I did on the other one. I would select this, I would go to insert inside the selection, just put it in there, just like that. Okay, so it's done the exact same way. And then I've already created this whole thing, so it makes my job that much easier. All I did was create them and put them in and then save it. So let's go ahead and look at my glass cans. It looks just like this. And then each one of these is just inside each one of these cans right here. So I would just double click and then I would get rid of that, as you can see, and then we would go ahead and put a new one on there. So just the same as we were doing before. Just delete them out. And so now I have blank cans to put my sublimation designs on. Boom, boom, done. So this is why having these mock-up templates already created for you makes it so much faster. And like I said in my last video, if you haven't watched it, go watch that, how digital paper is kind of the major thing that I think most designers should start out with because of the versatility. This is where having these types of things can really come in handy. You may start out, oh, I made a digital paper, then I resized it. Now I can pop it into templates for Tumblr wraps. Oh, now I can pop it into glass can wraps. And then last, I guess I can show you teardrop earrings. These are good ones to show as well. And so then this is my teardrop earring mock-up. So you can do mock-ups all different ways. You're going to find your own style, something that you think looks good, that shows off your product in the way that you want to show it off. My advice to you is to go and look on Etsy, go and look on Designbundles, CreativeFabrica, all of those, and see what other designers are doing. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like? Why don't you like them, or why do you like them? And then go from there. One other tip I wanted to point out was using a white background, but something with a texture. As you can see on the background of this, you can see this kind of white wood in the background. I just think having the texture adds a great deal. If it was just white and blank, I don't think it would look as good. Let me give you an example. So let's go ahead and turn that off. And to me, it just doesn't look as good. I think that texture, even though it's white, I think it just adds a lot of dimension. It makes it look so much better. Here's with it on, and then here's with it off. So again, that's what I would do. If you don't know where to find a photo in the background, you can go to pexels.com, Pexels.com, and you can just type in a color and then a background. Just type white background, and then you'll get a bunch of different options. They have brick and all different things. Lower the opacity down a little bit, and it'll just look great on the background of all of these. So I hope you guys learned something here. I do want to dive more into mock-ups and maybe get a little more into detail. But for now, I think this was a really great start, really helpful in making yourself like a cohesive brand. You can see on here that this one, then you go to this one, this one. You can tell by looking at my listing photos that I am all the same brand. And I think that is something really important that you guys can take away from this. That and just making sure you have these templates so that you can bust them out and you can put your designs in there quickly and you can get them listed as fast as possible. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.